Welcome to my final presentation for CIT260. I am going to try and recap what I've learned this semester following the rubric by going through some code in our text-based game called Adrift. So what I will start is to go through some of these rubrics, and the first thing I'm going to try to do is basically explain what the difference between a static class variable and a non-static class variable is. Um, so basically, my understanding, what I learned, is that a static variable is created only in basically in one program, basically one class at a time, and memory for that class is allocated basically at the time of loading that class. So it's basically you know so basically it's just for that own class, and it's usually not called in another class. So that goes to the non-static variable, which is created at the time of an object of a class. So the non-static variable is also known as instance variable because memory is allocated whenever an instance is created. So that's the kind of the easy way to remember it. Um, what I can do is I will show you in um, in this inventory control class. So what we have here, if you can see my cursor, is basically these variables right here are a is a non-static variable because it these variables are called throughout the game. So whenever an object is called throughout any of these classes, it's the variable, and it's the same. So basically, what the difference with a static variable, which is right here, you'll find these throughout the game, which is just called throughout this class, right? So anywhere that you see the ANSI red, which is right here, it's only going to be called within this class, whereas this variable here will be called throughout, mostly any of these classes here. So that's kind of the difference. I hope I didn't do you wrong by trying to explain that and causing confusion. So let's move on to an array versus an array list versus an enum. So the main difference in an array and array list, so the main difference between an array and array list in Java is basically the static nature of an array and the dynamic nature of an array list. So once you create once created, you cannot change the size of an array, but an array list can resize itself when needed. So you can add, subtract in an array list. An enum is basically a group of named constants. So it is an alternative to basically numbered flag parameters. It also doesn't have to be numbered from 0. You can specify the numbering. And in enum, it could be days, days of the week, for example. It could be departments in a company, like sales, billing, HR, what have you, months of the year. And an array is a sequence of memory locations. So it's a collection. Each element in the collection is indexed by a number. So in how I can show you that in our code is, let's take a look at, I believe it is the map control. So here's the map control. So if we go to the scene type, so here's where we create an enum of the scene type, right? So here we go. Here's where we named all the scene types. Okay, so they're not indexed from 0 to nothing. These are just basically named. And what we did was, once we go to map control, now we can just simply call them, right? So all these are part of it. All this information gets stored into that variable. So that's what an enum is, and an array list could be basically when you need to add inventories, if we have to add inventories into a list, gather the inventories. Once we empty out inventories, we would subtract them. So that's kind of where the array list comes into play. So the arrays, basically in arrays, you can't change the size of the array, but the array list can be added and subtracted. So that's basically throughout the game. You will see how we add tools, subtract tools, and you'll see that when I go through a demonstration of the game. What's next is let us go to the for statement in a code. So an example of the for statement in the code of one of my codes was the tool control. So here, and basically I can recap and show you that here's another. See, there's where the game is. So that is, again, a non-static code. That's where we're calling it again. And then here we go again, the static code of the colors. So in here, here's the for loop, right? So what we're doing is we're calling the integer I in the temp tools. So here's your tools. Then we put that into the variable I. So for every I, 0, it gets the tool list, the length of it, and then adds. So I++ is adding to that list. And then J equals 0. J is the toolbar. So the tool list adds into the J, and then if the tool list J, right, we'll get the required amount is less than the tool list J plus 1. So that's, again, adding, get the required amount. The listing gets put into temp tools, and then that gets put back tool list J plus 1, and then repeat. So that is the for loop right there. So this is where it keeps adding to the tool list, going through, adding to the tool list, and then it will eventually return to the tool list. I'll show you some of that throughout the game as well. So a lot of this will be basically shown to you as I play the game. I'll try to point these out to you. So let's do I guess we'll go to throw catch exception. The throw catch exception basically is in I believe it's in our move to location. So move to location. Yeah, so here we go. So throw catch. Basically, here we go. Let's try this code. If this is incorrect, it will catch this game control exception. Okay, and then it'll print it out. So the game control exception, if you're looking through here, here's our exceptions. Here's the game control exception. So that's where the code is running this. So then it'll print that out right here. So that is the game control exception. Then we have lots of catches where we have the IO exception, right? While we do the do while loop. This is the fill buggy control exception. Try this, catch the input output exception. So this one is for filling the buggy. So if somebody, as it states here, if somebody in the buggy is trying to add more than 4, it will run through the code and then catch it and then say that's an invalid selection. So let us go to the write character to an external file. That's a lot of that is done through the print report view. So as you go through the inventory report, this was basically again we get the exception, but then it sends the items that right here. So get the print writer report file. So that's what we just learned. The report file will then print the screen, and then it will. These are codes to padding the columns, and then it says for the inventory items of the inventory, now print it, right? So now print the item, the description of the item, and the stock of the item. And we go down here. So here's the report file. Again, get the description, get the for the tools, get the quantity, get the resource, and get the required amount. And then basically, here we go. Let's get this report file now, and let's print out your report has been successfully run and saved. We have a catch exception where, if for some reason there's a problem with saving the game. Report file close. And then we scroll down here, and then here we go. So here's where you're going to print it. So enter the file path, and then print writer report file, and then here's print writer file path. So that's kind of where the report file will be. The user will figure out where they want to print it to the local drive. Okay, so this one I'll try. It's the character stream versus byte stream. I will attempt to do this justice, but basically, we can write operations using byte streams. Also, but we generally avoid it because the problem basically comes from character encoding. So it's a system problem. So in byte streams, we don't provide any encoding scheme. So if the file is not saved, basically in an 8-bit character set like ASCII or any other format, that the output would not be proper because it will treat each byte differently. Okay, so for example, if a file uses Unicode encoding systems, for example, 2 bytes for a single character, but the byte stream will break it into 2 parts, and to process it properly, we have to apply the programming logic. So for such cases, we use character streams, which automatically translates to and from the local character set, because Java conventionally uses Unicode systems to store characters. So basically, byte streams is okay, but if your system might try to break it into into two streams, and basically you probably get more of an error. So that's why we kind of use the character stream, because then it automatically translate that to basically a local character set. I hope that makes somewhat of sense. So I hope I did the explanations some justice. So I think what we'll do now is I'll give you a demonstration of our game, and let's see if we can run this. Let's see here. Let us close this out so we have a fresh screen, and let us run this. Hopefully we won't have any errors. Okay, so here's our team adrift. Okay, so let us start to play the game. Hey, welcome to Adrift, John. We hope you had a blast. So here's our main menu. We will, you can let's just start the new game. And so in the pre-mission selection menu, so this is another view class that we had. What the object of the game is so let's start with the object of the game. The object of the game is to your ship has crashed onto an asteroid, and you have to find this special tool and to plus, which I'll let it out of the bag, which is the flux capacitor, and some other items to basically to fix your ship with the flux to fix your ship, and then utilize the flux capacitor as this special item, and to fix your ship, and then you can blast off to back home. But so the importance of this game is that it's not very easy. So you really have to understand each move to each location. There is a formula. There is a complex formula. It will only allow you to move to certain spaces if you have enough gas, have enough food, um, if you have the right tools. You have to have the right tools in order to mine, so you have to mine resources. Once you get your buggy, if your buggy is overweight, which means you have too much on it, it will tell you that you have to go back to the facility scene to unload your buggy. There is a lot of complex thought that goes into here, that went into this game. So basically, you get a pen. You're gonna do trial and error. You're gonna try to figure out what to take, what not to take, what items in this pre-mission selection view are important. So it says you may choose a maximum of 4, okay, and then with a total of 10 items. So let's go to food rations, right? So well, let's go to fuel. I think we're going to need fuel. So I'm going to take 4. And then here, so that public class, so here's a class, right? So we were talking about the static class. So right there, the remaining capacity in elevator is 6.0. The color scheme is applied to that. That's applied to every part of the pre-mission selection view. That's where that comes from. So, so your remaining capacity in the elevator is 6.0. So let us take some O2 tanks, and it says how many would you like? I will take 3. The remaining capacity in the elevator is 3. So most of the inventories that you have here are predefined with a set number that you can take, and that is also stored in the arrays, basically in the game. So let us take what we haven't done yet, the food, right? So let us take food. So let us take 2, and then so basically your capacity is 1, because we're only allowed to take 10 items and we have 9. So let's quit. We're done with our selections. So here's the explanations. Right? You have crash landed on an asteroid in the Kimball section of the asteroid belt, and your crew has already made it to the mining facility where you're assessing your damage. Your ship's hull is damaged, and you will need to be fixed. So basically, we need to fix it. We need to retrieve the top secret item from the asteroid, which I told you is the flux capacitor, and somewhere along in the scenes, fix the damaged hull, create new fuel cells if possible, save your crew, and return to the secret item on Earth. Okay, so here are some items here. What we want to do is let us view. So if we, there's so much we can do. So let's view the map. Here's the map, and as you can see, you are here. Here's the sectors 5x5, and each one of these sectors has certain items in here that you can mine for resources, and then you will bring back to basically sector 0.1, which is the facility scene. So this is where you're going to bring all these items in these sectors back here, unload them onto this scene so that you could fix the ship. Okay, so 0.1 is the, so let's go there. So let's go to move to new sector. So we will move to the sector. And here, what we want to do is we want to enter our sector coordinates. We want to do D. I want to go to 0 X coordinate, 1 coordinate. So here it is, the facility scene, right? Welcome to the mining facility. Here at the facility, you can call on your crew to smelt oil, construct tools, and refine resources. So what would you like to do? I would like to, I want to check my O2 level to see if I have, how good I am. So I'm currently at 92% of my O2 level, because we went one spot, right? We moved one location. Each location that you move, you're gonna reduce your O2 and your food. So every time you move, basically you're wasting oxygen and you're wasting food. Okay, so right now I don't need to fill my O2 tanks. So let us quit. Okay, let us quit to move to location view. Now let's, so for instance, let's check the buggy's weight. So the current loaded weight is 0. The buggy's remaining weight is 60. Okay, so when we start loading the buggy, the max weight is 60. Okay, so let us quit and let us now try, right? So let's try the, let's view the ship status, because this is where we're going to go to look and see if we're, ship status is S. So it'll tell you, so here's your ship resource, ship status, repair level 0%, fuel level 0%. So we need to get that up to 100%. So right now, your ship needs iron, copper, and uranium. Okay, and this is what is 20, 10, 20 iron, 10 copper, 20 uranium is what is needed in order to repair the ship. So let us view contents of coordinates, right? So now we want to know, okay, well, I want to know, so basically, there you go, right? So you have another cool feature is we had visited there. So we've already been to 0.0. We're now at 0.1. So we'll be in green. All visited will be in red. That's because I clicked on V for view map. I hit the wrong variable. So we wanted to do, we wanted to view contents of coordinates. So it's L. Okay, so here's the coordinates, and here's the contents of each coordinate and what's available. Okay, so we have, if we go right now to 02, sector 02, there should be aluminum. There should be 10 of aluminum. So once we figure out what we need, right? We needed uranium, we needed iron, and we needed copper. So basically, we kind of need to find out, they're probably the most important things to get to, but you have to remember some of these food, fuel, you'll have to get to just so that you can get to some of these sections to get copper. So there's a lot of strategy. So for instance, let us try to do O4. Let's try to do iron. So now I want to go to move to new sector. We want to go to 04. So we want to move, we want to go to 0, and we want to go to 4. Now let us see if we are going to make it. I ran out of fuel. Oh, so even though we wrote code to this game, I still have yet to beat it. And that is probably because we have really made this hard, right? So what happened was I tried to go too far with what I had. So I probably should have, basically went to 02 and then 03 and, got some fuel. Maybe I should have went to 4.1 and got some fuel. But basically, once you die, it just basically you'll restart. So let's see what help is. So let's help. So how to move your character. Here's where we have all the how to move your character, mining resources. The mine resources, enter desired location, choose which resource and amount you would like to mine. So so that is how you would get to the menu. So so let's talk about, so let's do the tools. So for instance, in this game, I'll try to explain about the how the array list is added and subtracted. So for instance, when we want to start a new game, and we take any of these, right? So we would take, just say we take fuel and we do 4 fuel, and let's just do that. So now, right now, we have fuel in a variable stored in memory. Now, if we went to a new, move to a new sector, and we went to 02, this area has deep sands and high wind. So this is the scene. So what do we want to do? Let's check what's there. And it says that there's aluminum. There's 10 aluminum. Okay, well, I want to mine some aluminum. So once we do mine resources, it says you do not have the tool. So, okay, so this is a great example. So right now, we couldn't mine it because we don't have the tool. So when we went to this section, I wanted to do aluminum, but we don't have the tool, so I can't do that. But for purposes of explaining the array, so basically what we did was we would take aluminum, we would store it into what we have into a memory, and then when we would go back, so eventually if we want to go back to our facility scene and unload the buggy, um, so if we want to go view ship status, okay, just want to make sure. Um, move to let me see this view map. I want to view map right here. As you can see how it jumped. So we're no longer in 01, we're now in 02. So basically what we're trying to do, what the array is, that the information, the resources get stored into memory, and then you can actually remove it, right? And then you can add to it. So you can have fuel, then we could add to the array, we could add aluminum, we could add ore, and then we could also subtract it. So that is the fluidness of the of what the arrays do. So basically, I hope I kind of explained a lot of how the game works in regards to arrays and enums. And if we want to do the print report, so this is where we did the right character to an external file. So let's print the report. I want to print the resources. It's going to ask us where the file we want it to be saved. So I'm going to put resource.txt. Oops, and there we have an error. So I'm glad that I did that because get resource amount. So there we have an error. So good. That is something that I probably have to go back and check with our team and see what we have. But basically, that's where we would get the resources, the printed local file. So we would send it. So besides that, I hope that everybody kind of understood what I was trying to explain about the different types of character streams and character bytes and enums and arrays and array lists and you know for statements and basically like that, and character streams and byte streams and static classes and non-static classes. So I hope you had fun. I was extremely happy to take this class. I've learned a lot. So I'm really happy, and I hope that you all enjoyed the game, and you hope that somebody beats the game, and then because it does give you a big notice that says winner, winner, winner. So if you do beat the game, please screenshot it and send it to us. We would really appreciate it. And then maybe we can get somebody to develop some cheat codes so it would be easier for all of us. But thank you very much, and goodbye.